You've recovered from COVID-19 but are still experiencing symptoms 6, 12 or even 18 months later, then you are not alone. Researchers at the University of Cape Town are currently running a study to better understand the impact of long COVID on the brain. They want to hear from those of us who are still experiencing fatigue, depression or the dreaded brain fog. Altai Turan is part of the team doing the research. Altai, thank you so much for joining us. I certainly, as we discussed beforehand, before we went to air, that brain fog is impossible to describe unless you've actually had it. As are some of the neurological issues such as tripping and falling and just feeling out of sorts. It's a very real thing, isn't it?
It's extremely real. There's been some pushback in places around the world to dismiss this as something purely psychogenic, as if people are malingering. That is absolutely not true. This is, though there's lots of uncertainties about the etiology of long COVID, about what precisely is abnormal or pathological in people's central nervous system, we do know that this isn't something that people are just making up. More and more samples around the world are showing that long after the initial infection of COVID, people, as you said, 18 months after the initial infection, still appearing with symptoms.
Altai, sorry to interrupt you. I thought you'd finished your thought, but let me just take you forward. I mean, quite a few people in our office have had inflammation for, at least 8 months after they got COVID, intense headaches. What is the impact at all, if we know, on the brain with regards to COVID?
So we don't fully know yet, which is part of why this research is being done. Since we've only been investigating long COVID for the duration of the pandemic, we can't fully ascertain what the precise changes that are happening in the brain are. There is some evidence to suggest that there is continued inflammation, that there is neurotransmitter malformation. That's basically a chemical that allows communications to happen in the brain not being facilitated properly. But we still don't fully know. And if you had to think about fatigue is such a generalized term. Are people fatigued when they try to concentrate? Are people fatigued when they try to exert physically? Is it both of them? And as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's a fire. But if you can't figure out exactly where that smoke is coming from, you're not going to put out the fire. And part of what the research we're doing, which is a collaborative project funded by the NRF between the UCT and CPUT, we're trying to characterize the mental aspects of long COVID fatigue. So understanding that when people say they're having brain fog, is it that it's an issue with concentration? Is it that when they exert mental effort for too long, they suddenly are unable to continue to do so? Is it that from the beginning, they can't even begin to exert mental effort? That's what this study is about, trying to understand and characterize the mental aspects of long COVID fatigue to better understand where and how pathologies in the brain and central nervous system in general arises.
Altai, I'm sure that there's several people watching this who would happily take part in your trial. Who is eligible and what exactly are you looking for?
Anyone between 18 and 60 years of age who has thinks they're experiencing long COVID is eligible to participate in the study. Send us an email at covidandthebrain@gmail.com, all in lowercase, or you can contact me on my Twitter at Altai Guy, ALTAYPSYGUY, and we'll send you a link to our online survey database where we psychometrically capture the fatigue, depressive, emotional, and cognitive aspects. And from there, we will try and screen you for eligibility to come in for an in-person session at the Neuroscience Institute at Groote Hospital in Cape Town, where we'll administer a number of neuropsychological tests that allow us to understand how your mind is working and how maybe it is not working so well. And from there, we can fully start to characterize the aspects of long COVID's mental fatigue.
All right, great. Thanks so much for your time, and I hope that you do get a good spread of participants, because it's such needed research, and certainly needed worldwide. Hopefully you could even collaborate with other people doing studies abroad. That was Altai Turan, and if you want to take part in this research, reach out on covidandthebrain@gmail.com. You'll be automatically sent a questionnaire to get the process started.